You guys, believe me, if there's anyone that hates seeing overreactions to multiple NFL teams, whether they be for good or for bad, this early into the season, I am most definitely one of those people. But to be honest with you guys, with everything that has been seen out of the Philadelphia Eagles in just their first couple games of this 2022 regular season, it seems pretty safe to say at least that they are exceeding almost all of the lofty expectations that were put on them going into this year and then some. But even with what was expected out of Philly this year, after an offseason that was very successful with player acquisitions as well as continued development on both sides of the ball, there were still definitely some points of interest within this team that people were questioning if they would be able to live up to their true potential. And long story short, those questions might have already been answered and they might have led us to what could be the scariest part about this team. One sec though guys, if you haven't yet, don't forget to like the video if you do enjoy, subscribe, and turn on those notifications to never miss another NFL video. Love you guys. We're going to continue to come out with brand new NFL content every single week as the season goes on, so trust me, you do not want to miss out. But anyway, let's get back on topic with the Philadelphia Eagles, who, first things first, I think it would be extremely disrespectful on my end to begin this conversation with anybody else than the man himself in Jalen Hurts. Because at least I think that I can confidently say, especially when referring to his statistics, that he could not have a better start to this 2022 campaign. And while, at least from the eye test of watching Jalen Hurts so far this year, it really does feel like he's been putting on these kind of performances for years on end. But if we're being honest with ourselves, if Hurts is able to keep up what he's done so far throughout the course of the entire season, it will truly be a completely different monster than Philly has ever seen before. And when I say this, it is almost 100% referring to the increased capabilities that Jalen Hurts is showing as an actual passer. And with this statement, I know that some people might immediately rush to the comments and be like, dude, what are you talking about? He is literally a quarterback. And to this, while I will say yes, you do make a good point there, for this Philadelphia Eagles offense that for the most part has been under the operation of Jalen Hurts for the last 2 years, that finished in the bottom 7 passing offenses in each of those 2 seasons, while all the blame was most certainly not pinned on Jalen Hurts' hands, there was still a lot of criticism flying around regarding him and if he were going to be able to improve in this area. And again, I know guys, it's just 2 games, but in my opinion, this is a completely different Jalen Hurts we are witnessing. Because for Jalen Hurts, while it should be said he has continually improved in his game overall every single year since he's entered the league, undeniably 2 of the biggest areas that needed to see improvement in Jalen Hurts' passing game were both making the right read consistently as well as accuracy. And while in week 1 for Jalen Hurts you saw flashes of improvement here and there, what we saw in his week 2 performance against Minnesota quite literally could not have been much better. Because after starting this game going a ridiculous 10 for 10 for 154 yards, with one of them being a 53-yard bomb of a touchdown to Quez Watkins, he finished the game on a ridiculous 26 for 31 pass attempts, netting to an 84% completion rate, while also going for 333 total yards in the air. And while obviously the improved accuracy is pretty clear in the stat line, the ability for him to continually make the right read as mentioned was almost effortless. And while I'm definitely not trying to discredit any of the clear improvement that's been seen out of Jalen Hurts in these games so far, I feel like you Eagles fans are finally starting to realize once again what will happen when your front office actually makes an effort to build around your quarterback. Because with the massive addition in AJ Brown, potential second-year breakout Devonta Smith, very underrated Quez Watkins, and also your solid tight end in Dallas Goedert, I really don't think the Eagles could have done that much better in terms of surrounding Jalen Hurts with a core of receivers that play into how he plays best. And I mean, aside from the passing game that was on full display this week, you can't also forget about the run game that was on full display in week 1. Because to stay on Jalen Hurts with this topic, while this was one of, if not the biggest components of his game through the first 2 years of his NFL career, the case can probably be made that he has got monumentally better in this aspect as well. well. Because if the 3 rushing touchdowns and the 160 plus yards on the ground through the first 2 games of the season weren't enough to tell you this, the combination of both his improved running and passing game in their last matchup had us see something out of a quarterback that the NFL has literally never seen before. And even aside from Philly's quarterback, with Miles Sanders, Kenneth Gainwell, and Boston Scott in your arsenal on the ground as well, this Philly team has literally showed us the perfect example through their first 2 games that if they're not going to be able to beat you in one area of the game, they're just going to try to dominate you in the other. But also, aside from how dominant their offense looked, because deservingly so, Jalen Hurts stole a majority of the headlines after their first couple of performances, there is absolutely not being enough love shown to this Philadelphia Eagles defense. And while yes, I know after giving up 35 points in their opening game to the Detroit Lions, there was definitely not a lot of positives to talk about on this side of the ball. What we saw previously against Minnesota definitely looked like a more realistic outcome in terms of what this loaded Eagles defense is able to bring to the table for this team. Because I mean seriously, from top to bottom with guys like Brandon Graham, Fletcher Cox, Kaiser White, Hassan Riddick, James Bradbury, Marcus Epps, Darius Slay, newly acquired CJ Gardner-Johnson, and of course even rookie Jordan Davis on the front line, it would truly be an understatement, at least when comparing week 1 to week 2, that this was a completely different defense that was seen. Because while in their first game, I think it was clear that they weren't necessarily firing on all cylinders together, against Minnesota, they showed that they can be capable of shutting down almost any aspect of an offense. And obviously, it can go without being said that every game is going to be a different situation, and Minnesota probably won't be the best team that Philadelphia is going to face all year, but in terms of seeing potential, it definitely looks like this Eagles defense is going to be able to live up to the hype they have on paper. And I mean, who knows, could very well be the backbone reason we see this team be far more successful than some people might anticipate. I don't know though, you guys, while through the first 2 weeks, yes, the Eagles might seem like one of the more surprising teams out of anybody across the league, I am also definitely curious to hear what you guys have to think about their situation. So please let me know in the comments what has been the most surprising part to you about what you've seen from the Philadelphia Eagles thus far, and also from what we've seen out of Jalen Hurts in these 2 games this year. Do you think he's going to be able to continue to perform like this throughout the entire season? But again, you guys, if you haven't yet, don't forget to go down below and leave a like on the video if you did enjoy, and of course, subscribe while you're down there. As I said, brand new NFL videos every single week as the season goes on, and we're just at the beginning of things, you guys, so trust me, you don't want to miss it. But also, I just wanted to say thank you so much to each and every one of you out there for watching. I appreciate you all more than anything. You all know this, and I will see you guys in the next video.